back, 10 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie. I'm pretty sure we're recording. I don't know.
Zoom is recording at least.
Zoom's recording.
It says so right there.
Yeah, OBS is recording. And I think I've hit that button enough times that it's recording. It seems to be counting up. So that's good. I don't remember how to do this.
Well, we just recorded last week. I don't know why we'd be out of practice.
That's fair. I've been very busy. It's been very busy.
We said we would see everyone next week, and here we are. So
that's true. That's true. I'm just tired. That's my life right now. We have a lot of projects at work between now and probably November, where it's just like everything's happening all at once. Everything's due all at once. We're very busy, so a lot of hours, which is still so much better than where I was a year ago. So I'll take this. I'll be tired. I'm happy. I'm still happy. Worth it. For those that are wondering, the grass is greener
in Ohio. Except for the one part where the river caught on fire. That part's not.
That's a different part of the state.
Okay.
That's basically New York.
It's basically Michigan.
Yeah. No, wasn't it Cleveland that caught on fire?
I think so.
Yeah, it was Cleveland from the DuPont factory or something, which is from Pennsylvania.
So fun fact, if you give me a map and it doesn't have the states labeled on it, I look at that whole area, I have no idea.
Like if they, even if they have the outlines, you can't put it together?
Yeah, no.
Really?
I have no idea which ones. I think I could vaguely pick out Ohio just because of the shape of it being on football things.
Sports would help that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a whole big area over there that I know there's a lot of states there.
Yep.
Couldn't you just give me little labels? I would just sure, this one. Yep, sure, okay.
The further northeast I get, the worse I am about it. That whole corner. Like I've never been anywhere near that besides like New York City for like 7 hours. And other than that, I don't know anything about the Northeast.
Yeah.
And then like my drive through all of those states for one lap actually did help me understand where things were. But that's about it.
Mostly just because you knew a few of those states, you needed to be a little bit more cautious about how ignorant you were being.
Virginia, yes.
In relation, okay,
yep.
Yeah, I couldn't remember
because
I was thinking Vermont, but y'all didn't go that far north.
No, we had to drive the entire the thickest part of Virginia, north to south or south to north, and then they watch you with planes. So like if you're speeding, they'll get you.
Especially if they know one lap is coming through.
Yep, which they did, and then we got warned about Ohio, but even after living here a year, I've had zero problems ever with that. So I don't know if people are getting tickets and getting harassed by cops here. I sure don't see it. So,
well, they can't get through the gate to your community, so
there is no gate. I'm just far enough away from literally everybody. I've had coworkers say that to me too. They're like, so where are you at? And I'll be like, I'm down by Mount Sterling. Where? Like I don't know, like 20 minutes south of here.
You're not in the income bracket to know that Mount Sterling exists.
Yeah, the town of 800 people. No, it's a thing like in Columbus where people don't move outside of that I-270 circle that goes around the entire city. Like we were talking to one of Jess's coworkers, and we were talking like how we wanted basically farm country still, and they're like, oh yeah, that's too much of a commute. I can't live outside of 270. I'm like, that is too much city. That is not for me. I can work in that area and I will drive to that area, but I don't want to live there. I'm like a gazelle. I like my open spaces.
Yeah, I do the opposite. I drive from the suburbs. I will call where I live the city. Plenty of people that I work with call it the city, but it's not the city because I'm still 30 minutes north of Dallas. But
No.
And drive an hour out to the middle of nowhere to go to work. So
happens. No. That's best case scenario. I would be 10 minutes closer to the city from where I live, but I love my house. I leave work as if I'm late to get home because I just like my house. we have a few things to catch up on. I think we can talk about grid life.
First, we need to acknowledge that Adam's not here. But we're both suffering from sinus issues, so it'll be like he's still here in spirit, at least.
Eventually, the internet will fall out a little bit, and then we'll all feel back like we're like a normal situation.
Little robot, a little bit, or we'll break up for just a second, but then make it up real fast.
Oh God, that's got to be the most funny thing to listen to here, and not see it coming. I don't know. Yours is flashing yellow, so we'll see how that works out for us.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fun.
But yeah, I did grid life things. You did nerd things, and today I had a weird day. And
I got to hear about this.
Let me pull up a picture. So
I'm real.
All right, so
real interested and real jealous.
So I sent you this picture, and it's a picture of a steering wheel. And it's a caption that just says "Weird Day," and it's a Dodge Viper 2nd Gen steering wheel. And then I also sent that to my family's chat, like my family Snapchat, and then sent the picture of the car.
Hold on, your family has a Snapchat?
Yep, my immediate family. So it's my mom, my dad, sister, my brother, me, his wife, Jess. Yeah, it's everybody. That's how we communicate, because we're millennials, all of us.
I'm about to say, I'm kind of tripped out when my dad sends me emojis, but
doesn't do that. Nope. He'll send very middle-aged man like pictures like you would expect, like with
kind of off center a little.
Yep, exactly.
Kind of like what Adam sends us.
yes, that's the perfect way to describe it. Yeah, so send it to them. But yeah, so I was actually at North End Wrench today, and I was talking to E-Man because his wife made sourdough bread, and then so I had to get a loaf of that. And then while I'm there, Hans gets a hold of me and is like, "Hey, my landlord just called because he's only been in Columbus for a short while. He's actually in a townhouse still, and so this landlord or whoever property manager called him and said, hey." Neighbors have complained about the smell of gas. We went into your garage and your car is leaking. You need to come get it. And he's like, well, I'm in California. That's not going to happen. So then he calls me and is like, hey, how far are you away? And I was like, well, it's Columbus. I'm only 20 minutes away. And which is actually true. So he explained the situation. And I was like, yeah, I'll just swing over there and we'll see what's up. And then I'll call you and we'll figure out what's going on. Call them. Yet sure enough, it is in fact leaking fuel. Appears to be leaking from the filler neck. So it's like that must be a thing. Like they wear out and then they leak from the filler neck, and then when you get so low, they stop leaking. Well, in order to get that low, so
somebody just needs to go drive it,
basically. So I was like, yeah.
Darn!
I was gonna say the garage was open when I got there. You can smell it as soon as you walk up. It's leaking fuel. And it looked like it was not active, but like you would see a drip every once in a while coming from about where the filler neck would be. It's like, they're not wrong, and I would imagine your upstairs neighbor is just complaining. But yeah, they said had to get it out of there, so I was like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, well, would you be okay with leaving your car here and just taking it? I guess, man, if you want to twist my arm, I'll take this Viper. But I did find it funny that I roll up in the Sonic and just kind of like hop out and just start poking around this garage. I've obviously never been here. Maybe not obviously, but I've never been here. And like all the neighbors just kind of like waved and smiled, like whatever. I don't know if I look enough like him that no one questioned
like,
it,
hey,
but like I just walked up and just took this Viper. Yeah. So yeah, obviously. What's that?
You have the keys to it.
They didn't know that. They didn't know that.
You were like breaking the window out of it and laying the steering column in the floor to start splaying out wires or anything. So
I mean, I could have been in there all day to hot wire. No one would have stopped me. He's in a nice neighborhood, I guess. No one questions it. But yeah, so we talked to him. It's kind of like, yeah, obviously you can't leave it here, and I can take it to my place, and then if it's still actively leaking, we can put it on the gravel, or if it, we get it on low enough fuel, we can just park it in the garage, whatever. But yeah, if it's going to be a problem, like, I guess I will fall on that grenade.
This is 100% a conversation that we've had jokingly before. Like, oh yeah, come get your Porsche. Don't worry about it. Yeah. I'll make sure that the GT3 doesn't get flat spots on the tires from sitting. That's fine.
Yep.
And then it happens to you, you lucky bastard.
Yep. So left the Sonic in his place, and the worst part was it's like 5 o'clock at rush hour traffic, so it wasn't like wide open interstates all the way home.
I've heard they have great clutches that are super easy on the leg.
That's actually not true on this one. Very, like, legitimately the same level of pressure as the Sonic. The only thing that was weird about it was that we can do my review of a second gen Dodge Viper. My only complaint was that it felt like the throw of the clutch was like twice as long as it needed to be. So it felt like I was kicking all the way to the firewall, and then the pedals were like, and the gas and clutch brake pedal were like halfway there. So like my right foot was still, or my right leg was still bent, and I'm like stretching my left foot to get to the. It was so like that throw felt really weird to me. But I think it just has a bunch of dead play after the fact, because like.
Yeah, I would be curious where the bite point is on it.
Way higher.
Yeah,
but like once you're driving and you're not actually like kicking it all the way to the firewall, the bite point's way above that. But it just felt weird the first time I jumped in. I was like, that's way over there, and then it was fine. But it was actually fairly like it wasn't a rude clutch. It's not like the 350Z where that's unsprung.
Which in keeping with the theme of most things on that car, it's probably a pedal box out of a Ram. So
that's probably very true. Yeah. So took a few things out of my car, threw it in the passenger seat, took his car, closed the garage, took off, drove home. And just kind of like, I made it like maybe a mile down the road. I'm at a stoplight, and this kid rolls up to me. He's like, points, have me put the window down. And he's like, "Hey, is that your Viper?" Yeah,
right now it is.
That's awesome, man. It's cool. And he's like, "What have you done to it?" I was like, "No, that's pretty much stock."
As far as I know.
Yeah,
you should have just looked him dead in the eye and been like, "Nope, just stole it."
I should have.
Oh.
Just took it. Yeah, pretty uneventful drive home. Traffic wasn't too bad.
You could have used the opportunity to just completely ignore the question and just say, "More than you can afford, pal."
I was like, if I wasn't so nervous about driving someone else's car, like I may have been, thinking on my feet like that. But it was just kind of like.
Just please get me home.
Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. It didn't take long to get like fairly comfortable in the car and like not feel nervous. So that was good. Yeah, I made it. A couple miles down the road, and then it's interstate like a third of the 2/3 of the way home, and then the rest of it was like curvy back road. So at least that part was fun, because from his place to my place, it's less interstate and more like curvy back roads to my house. And then, the fact that it was leaking fuel meant where I wasn't really exactly joyriding. I was more watching my mirror to make sure there wasn't smoke.
Make sure you weren't looking like a Supra at Laguna Seca circa 2024.
Yep, that's exactly what I was doing. He did remind me that it's fully insured, so if worst comes to worst, ditch it. But luckily it didn't come to that. Then came home and then sent a picture, and it was just kind of like, well, what a weird day. And then had to explain to them like, okay, no, it's my buddy's car. So I'm just, here's the situation. But obviously Jess doesn't check that shit till she gets home. And I said like her reaction is going to be priceless. So it's parked in the shop next to the Z, and the garage door is open, and I left the garage door to the house open, so she comes home and the Sonic's gone, and there's another car sitting in the garage or the shop and the lights are off, so she can't quite see what's there, but she knows it's not the Sonic. And so she comes into the house and says, "What's that? What's what?"
I traded it straight up.
She's like, "Did you buy another car?" And I was like, "No." Or no, actually, I didn't even say no. I was like, what did I say? I think I said, just come out to the shop. Did you buy another car? Just come out. Let's go for a walk. Just come for a walk.
Here, let's take a stroll.
Like, it took a little bit to kind of like convince her to walk out of the house, and like she is fuming, but she's not ready to she's not exploding yet because she doesn't know exactly what's happening, but she's mad. And the further we get, or the closer we get to the shop, the madder she's getting. And then she opens. Then we walk into the shop, and then I think she recognized it enough to know that it was his car, and then went, it's his Viper. And I was like, yeah. Then I explained to her. I was like, no, I didn't trade the Sonic for a Viper. This is what's going on. But it was fun to have her be fucking furious for about 3 minutes.
So here's what I did. I took the Sonic. I put 20 kilos of Coke in the back of it.
It's probably about.
I left it and then picked this car up.
That's probably about a fair trade. Yeah.
I have no idea how much Coke actually costs.
Neither do I, but it sounds good. Yeah. But yeah, so my first experience driving a Dodge Viper was today, and it was unexpected, and I'm really not mad about it. And again, he's like, "Man, I'm so sorry for putting you out like this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I really appreciate you doing this. Like, you can stop apologizing anytime, man. This is kind of working out for me." But
I had a friend in high school and college that he got an Audi. It was just an A3, but it was the DSG, and it was like had the sport suspension on it. It was just a fun car because it just wanted to go 130 miles an hour down the highway. Like, that was all this car wanted to do. And he had to go on a trip and left it at my house. And I would just send him pictures of me driving it. Like, the whole week he was gone. Just like, "Hey, thanks for the car." Like, "Hey, stop it, asshole." Like, I'm just out here.
Oh. Yeah, so good. But yeah, so finally getting to meet my hero. So that was nice.
That's what I'm so afraid. I have idolized that car
my entire life.
Literally since I was 6 years old, because it came out originally when I was 6, and then it got even worse when the GTS came out, because the blue GTS, the chrome 5 spokes, is the car.
Yep.
Like that will be when you know that I have achieved everything I wanted to in life, because that car will be in my garage and we will have made it.
Yep. Yeah, I mean this was the car for me. The Gen 2 GTS. It's for me it would have been the blue with the white stripes, but yeah, I mean it's this car. I mean it's everything I thought it would be. And like I didn't even drive it in anger by any stretch. I literally just drove it home because, again, I was kind of worried that it was going to catch fire. Which, good thing it didn't. But
that's a standard supercar experience, right?
Yeah, basically keep it under 3,000 RPM the whole way. No, I mean, it wasn't that conservative. But I jokingly said to him, I was like, "Yeah, I left with half a tank and I got here with like 3/4 of a tank." I was babying it the whole way. It actually gained gas somehow.
Yeah, I'm so afraid to drive one. I'm so afraid of which I've talked to people that have driven them and modified them.
Yep.
And it's everything about it is a mid 90s performance car. So it it was 450 horsepower. Well, that's not that.
It's not that
crazy.
No, the only thing that stuck out to me that I would want to find a way to change or do something differently, and that I genuinely didn't like, was that it does not have a dead pedal. The clutch is all the way to the left and basically up against the passenger or the that wouldn't be the passenger, but like the driver's side of the car. So you could have your foot resting against that wall and still like just lean your foot forward and touch the clutch. So there's no dead pedal whatsoever. I felt like the pedals were too close together. So like my feet felt really cramped, and I can't remember the last time I've ever had that in a car. And the entire seating situation, including where my feet were, if I'm facing true north, I felt like I was sitting facing northwest. Like we're talking like 5 degrees shifted to the left, aiming at the driver's side wheel.
Which I think
it just like it was weird. It was weird to me, and I'm sure it's an adjustment thing, but that was weird.
Which I think the way the car is shaped, it probably pinches the footwells down in it. So you probably really are facing the middle of it.
Yep. It just felt it just felt like I was facing slightly shifted to the left, aiming to the left, not shifted left, aiming left.
Because you got to think about how much those doors cut in for the heat extractors off the sides, you know?
And you feel it. Yeah, you lose a dead pedal because of it. Because like I had to move the Z when I got home, and I was like, "There's so much room to like do an Irish jig in here, man. I got all this room for my feet."
When a 350Z feels big.
Yep. So that was the only thing that took a little bit of getting used to, was like just the location of the pedals, the fact that there was no dead pedal, and just like it just felt off. Which again, I feel like it would take no time at all to feel like I was like totally normal. But yeah, just that was the only thing that jumped out at me. It was like not what I was expecting. Everything else, so good. I might just go sit in it all weekend, just 'cause. Just enjoy it while I can.
Well, it has a row of gauges across the top of the dash. I mean, it's basically just a 350Z with a V10 in it.
It's the same thing. And then of course he's like, I mean, if you want to use some fuel and just keep driving it, I mean, I might, if it's not actively leaking.
Just don't. Is it driver's side or passenger side?
It would be the
filler's on.
The passenger side.
Passenger side, yes. Just all right-handers.
Yep.
Just don't slosh it to the right. Everything will be fine.
It's fine. If anything, I'm doing it. It's more of a service, because if he's got to be lower to get in there to be able to remove that filler neck. So the less fuel, the better. So if anything, I'm doing him a favor. Plus, he's really put me out so bad to have to go and get this car. So, yeah, weird day.
You have to just go back there and click that thing and let it flop open, right? Like the filler, the big chrome filler cap.
I haven't opened it, but yeah, you do. It's very old school.
Which that car was basically designed to just be a modern Cobra. So.
Yep. But if you're wondering, it is as wonderful to drive as you think it is.
Yeah, that doesn't help me.
Well, also, it felt really familiar, too, because I think they're just like T56s. So, I mean, that transmission felt super normal.
Yeah.
Like, I've driven that a million times.
Yeah, that's the first. I think that's the first car that I became conscious of the T56 in. But.
Yeah, so, no, the clutch, whoever told you the clutch felt awful, they're wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, and I remember whenever, and it was probably more like the first like RT10s, I just remember the clutch is awful. The exhaust burns you through the door. It wants to go backwards just as easily as it wants to go forwards. It's trying to kill you at all times.
I do believe that, yes.
And I remember reading these things in a magazine story, and I'm like, oh, okay, where do I sign up at? Like, this sounds awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, you've definitely sold me on it.
This sounds like what a man's car is supposed to be. I'm not sure what the problem is here.
Yep. It was kind of like the 240, whereas like you could feel the heat coming up through the belt, like in the tunnel of the transmission, and like you can feel the heat coming up through the shifter leather stuff. So it's just kind of like, this all feels kind of familiar. Very 90s.
It's just like they built a factory race car.
Yep.
So
yep. No, it's so good. It's so good.
Hi. Here's a there's a 2001 about an hour from here that is it's kind of perfect.
Yep. I don't want it to be perfect.
That's why this one's
I want it to have some scratches. I want it to have some miles. It's better that way.
So this one's only got 28,000 miles on it, and it's a salvage title because it was wrecked in the front.
Perfect.
And it was originally yellow, but it's wrapped. It was originally yellow, but wrapped matte gray.
Interesting.
And yeah, it looks like it's led just a bad enough life that I would not feel guilty about doing just unspeakable things with it. So
that's the perfect car.
But 50,000 is a little too much for that. So
yeah, that's the problem, because even in that condition, they're still $50K. Yeah,
that's anything clean is like 75, 85 and up. And that's
because I remember this is only a handful of years ago, probably pre-COVID, when you could get them for like 60, and it was like a really nice one for 60. They could be had all day long. But
that's what I think they kind of did the same thing that Porsches have done, like 911s have done, where they kind of bottomed out at a certain point, and then now all of them are just going back up. It's like, well, what? Like, why?
Yeah, I definitely missed the boat on the low end one.
Why now? Oh, it's because people finally have a slight bit of economic resources.
Yep.
And we were the ones looking at them when we were little kids.
And we finally have enough to afford it. If I would stop racing, I could totally get one. But I'm still sick enough to do racing, and we'll talk about that.
If I could quit this, if I could quit doing this heroin, man, everything.
That cocaine looks great, but this heroin I'm still doing. Yeah, it's a slippery slope. And I can't decide if it was the best or worst thing ever to get to drive that today.
Oh, there's a reason. I've been offered to drive a Corvette a couple of times in my life, and I have like staunchly refused.
Well, he offered it to me today as just like, yeah, maybe, if you wanted to like take it out, take Jess on a date or whatever, you can just take it for a couple hours or whatever. And I was like, yeah, totally. And I had no intention of actually following through with it, because for that exact reason, I was like, man, sometimes it's best not to know.
Uh-huh.
And then he just kind of
he's over there with the lighter under the spoon, going like, huh?
Yeah, man, you don't have a choice, man. I need you to take this car. Oh man, crazy day. But yeah, we can talk about my heroin and why I don't have a Viper of my own, and then we can talk about your nerd stuff.
You went and did. Hey, you did a grid life so we could record a show again.
That's true. That's why we're recording. And it was good. Like, it was really good. So, yeah, so went to Autobahn for grid life. And even leading up to it, like, the car was in good shape. I really didn't have to do a whole lot between Mid-Ohio and the Mid-Ohio test day and this event. I was basically just giving it a spit shine and once over maintenance stuff. And so went into it feeling pretty good. Knew I wasn't going to be super competitive, but had no intention of being competitive, and was just going to go have fun. Get that last race weekend under my belt. Go into the off season. Focus on the engine build. Focus on some plans I had for the car outside of the engine build. Obviously, the goal being to take the car home in one piece. No major projects outside of the projects I already had planned. What's
lofty
that?
goals sometimes.
It's yep,
Lofty goals.
Yep. Didn't want to jinx myself, but I felt like that was achievable. We get there. Jess had to work a full day, so we didn't get there till late on Thursday night. And even leading up to it, I get a text from Hans. I think it was Wednesday, the day before I left, and he was like, "Hey man, how do you feel about being a mentor to a new GLTC driver?" And I'm like in the middle of my text back to him, like, "Man, I don't know. Like I got this other stuff going on. I'm not going to get there till late Thursday night, and like I haven't hit send yet, but I'm like typing it all out." Then he sends another text. "It's Matt Beck. Delete. Okay, great."
Yep. Should have replied back. That guy's beyond help. I don't know.
Well, it was funny because obviously he was going to take the engine down to Texas for me, and then he was going to buy some 300ZX parts off of me. And so I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." And then he puts us in like a group chat together, and then like air quote introduces us. And then Matt's like, "I owe him money. Is that a conflict of interest?" I'm like, "Only if you don't pay."
I owe him money, but also I'm carrying parts country for him, so I'm not sure like where
do we draw the line here? But I was surprised he was still technically on rookie because he'd done a few events, but I guess the new rule is you are technically a rookie until you've had 4 weekends under your belt, and I think 4 weekends without getting yourself put on probation. So this was his last weekend before getting off of rookie status. But it worked out really.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that whenever we were at Road America. I'm curious who he was working with there, but
yeah, I'm not sure. And I know that it's been like because they had mentors last year, and I don't think it was like a formal thing. Because even like obviously last minute asking me to do it, they have obviously drivers in the field that they'll trust enough to be like, "Hey, take them under your wing or whatever," and we believe your advice is going to be helpful rather than a hindrance or whatever. So I mean, I took that as a compliment that they look at me in that way. Even if I'm not competitive, I'm at least not a person that they're looking at like, this guy's an asshole. At least not for that reason.
It's like getting signed off for solo, as DE guy. It doesn't. You don't need to be fast. You don't need to be this. You don't need to be that. You need to be aware of what's going on and safe and courteous and
right.
So
yeah. So obviously that went super smooth. Went to the rookie meeting with him. We checked in. I mean, we would have anyways, just because that's he's one of the guys I get along with the best that was there. And he was parked next to Rory, so it was kind of nice. I just kind of swing it. Like it was him, Rory, and then Scott Robertson. So I was basically just kind of like find my way over to that part of the paddock and talk to all of them after every race, anyways. So even if I wasn't his mentor, I was still going to do that. No, but it was actually really cool because we were very similarly paced. So we were battling with each other every race. Depending on the race, he would start in front of me or I would start in front of him or, whatever. And we would end up battling for multiple laps. And so it's pretty easy to go like, so here's how that race went because I saw the whole thing.
Yeah. Hey, this thing you did in a turn 3, don't do that.
and honestly, we only had a couple of things where a different driver who had a faster paced car that had issues that ended up way in the back that was like basically freight training everybody back to where you're supposed to be. And like Matt was actually getting out of the way, like getting offline. And then he just like got up right behind him and then just like rode his bumper and like, and so then he's like, he was blocking me. And Matt's like, I was trying to get out of the way. I was like, yeah, I know. I saw the whole thing. You guys were
doing
just
everything but giving you a point by.
I was like, you guys were clearly just on the wrong, like the red mist just took over and the logic just disappeared on that situation. I was like, I didn't see you do anything wrong. So don't sit here and just because he said you were blocking, you weren't. You were actively trying to get out of the way. But yeah, super fun to be actually, that similarly paced with the people that I was actually spending the most time with at the track. So it was like we'd all be like battling really close on track, and then like we'd get done and we'd be the ones hanging out and talking about it, and like no egos whatsoever, no problems whatsoever. Like if something didn't go super smoothly, we could all talk about it without like any sort of like finger pointing or anything like that. Because there was one race where I did learn that with my containment seat and my mirrors that I have, there is a blind spot that I've never actually had. It's never been an issue. But Jake Jornstad was actually moving his way up the field because he had issues in race 1. And I think it was race 2 or 3. I think it was race 2. Where he was like living in my driver's side blind spot. So basically like on my quarter. And I knew he was there. But I couldn't see him in my rear view mirror, and I couldn't see him in my door mirror. But I knew he was there. So there was like 3 turns where I like took these really weird fucking lines because I wanted to make sure there was enough room on the outside because I knew he was there. But then Matt was on the inside. And so like after the race, I'm like, I totally lost you there. I knew you were there. I need to get one of those little circular mirror things.
Yeah, the convex mirrors.
Yeah, I bought those already, but like I need that on the driver's side because I lost you. And I just wanted to make sure I left enough room. He's like, yeah, I saw what you were doing. But yeah, he just couldn't get around me in those, like what I think it was like 3 corners where he was just kind of in that spot, and luckily no contact, no issue whatsoever. But it was just kind of like, oh shit, this hasn't been an issue, but clearly it needs to be addressed. So, but yeah,
I have trouble in mine with a Hans without a containment seat and without a window net. So like I can imagine how. Well, I mean, I have trouble in the thing just highway. Like there's a large area on both corners. Like whenever I first got mine, I pulled onto the highway leaving the dealership and almost sideswiped a car. And it was like, ah!
Yo. Yeah, it's easy to do. And so like I bought one of those really big like convex mirrors for my like in the center above my windshield. So like that actually goes all like the full width of the car and actually ties in, like the field of view ties into the passenger side door mirror. So like I can see everything on my right side. There was just that one blind spot on my left that I had to address yet. So again, luckily no issue whatsoever there. And again, I'm racing with people that I know. I mean, I don't know Jake super well, but I know him well enough, and I know like the Myriad guys and Hans and like all those guys. They're paddock like right next to me, so it was really easy to just be like, hey, I hope I wasn't being super dumb out there. And and yeah, like when you're not actually being an asshole, it's pretty easy to have a conversation of, yep, this is what happened. Everything's fine. No worries.
Yeah, there was, I don't remember which race it was, but I was able to turn on, and they were following Andy, I guess, at the front of the field.
Yep.
Battling, like, Eric was just chewing on him for, like, nearly 3 full laps. And then set him up through one of the S's and did, like, an over-under and got around him. And I was watching the leaderboard on the side, and I'm seeing Matt and then you right next to each other. And I'm like, man, cool if they, like, cut to that. And then so Eric gets the pass and they show like 2 more corners of them, and then it cuts to this gaggle of 5 cars, and there's a maroon car and a blue car in the middle of it, and I'm like, that's my friends, I know them.
Yeah.
And it was cool because Kyle was super into it because you guys were It was like a MotoGP race. It was like every corner there was stuff happening, somewhere in this group of cars. So he was super into it. And yeah, it was cool.
Yep. I would say you're not the only one that's complimented or that reached out and kind of said, yeah, they showed you a bunch, and they're like really active about like your racing. And that's never happened. So it was really cool to have that much airtime, I guess, and then to have it be good because we're all battling each other and racing well. So it was really fun, and that was cool. Not the smoothest of weekends, however. So I got there for Friday. So we had 2 practices Friday and then qualifying. So I go out for practice and I get like a lap in. So this would be the first time I've been there in the Z, the second time I've ever been there, because we did that one test day with the NPO1 back when we had the team. And so I went out there and we did, realistically, I think I did maybe 2 or 3 laps. And then there was like a full course yellow because someone had a mechanical somewhere. And I'm getting, my wideband is giving me this error. And it wasn't like the E9 fault saying that the sensor's bad. It was like an E8 or something. Like it was a different error I'd never seen before. Car seemed to be running okay, but like it just felt off, and I didn't feel like doing yellow laps or pace laps while they got that all figured out, and then the session's over anyways. Like I'm just gonna pull in and get this figured out. I'll be out for the second practice. Pull into pits pull into hot pits, and the car dies. Like immediately, the second I roll into hot pits, and it won't start. And so like I flip the switch off, flip the ignition back on. All of a sudden I hear my ECU doing beep, 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 beep. Nothing. God damn it. So I just wait for the session to come over and have them.
We just wanted a smooth weekend. That was all we asked for.
Just an easy one. And I'm thinking like, did I fry my ECU? Like how bad is this? Like, because like the dash wouldn't even come on. Like my Haltech dash wouldn't even like light up. So obviously the car wouldn't start. They dragged me back to my spot. At this point, I'm like, it almost feels like a dead alternator, like the battery's dead. Sure enough, the battery's at like 9 volts. So throw the charger on.
Which a standalone ECU does not like at all.
Which neither does the wideband, and the wideband's on its own separate thing that sends a signal to the ECU because it's like an Innovate, so it's kind of a standalone thing on its own. And so that thing too is when it got below a certain thing, it would throw that error. So like my intuition was right. Yeah, something's not right. You should definitely go in. And luckily I decided to go in the lap that I did. Otherwise I would have been sitting on the front straight and ruined the session for everybody. So got the battery charged. Swapped in my spare alternator, and that's a whole deal because they're not super easy. And I'm gonna steal something out of Matt Beck's pocket for my next VQ because he's using like a Heim joint, like how some of the LSs will to tighten the alternator as the tensioner. Oh, hold on.
Oh yeah,
and so
because They had the presence of mind to mount it on the very freaking bottom of everything to start with.
And the belt tensioner, I have the old mechanical style belt tensioner. So I think you probably have the newer version. And so that's also like you have to get from the bottom. And so
that's what mine. There's just enough room between the pulley and the stock electric fan to fit one of those tensioner tools.
Yep.
As long as the extension that's on it is not very big.
Okay.
It's so tight up against the dang fans. It's crazy.
So on the old VQs, the DEs, it's just a mechanical bolt that gets locked in place. There's no lever to.
There's no spring.
There's no spring whatsoever. So like fought that, got the alternator swapped. That didn't fix it. I have 15 volts at the alternator, and then that voltage is going fucking nowhere. Like it's not getting to the kill switch. It's not getting to the battery. It's not going anywhere. All right, so then I yank that wire out, the big wire that connects the alternator to the kill switch. And I was like, Dalton's there. Dalton's been helping me like because he'd gotten there fairly late in the day on Friday, and he's he had to wait for tech or something. So as he's waiting for all that stuff to happen, he's helping me get this alternator swapped. He's not throwing bolts across the paddock. He's been super helpful, actually.
if any bolts need to be flight tested, Dalton is at the ready.
No, legitimately super helpful. So got that swapped. We tested the wire, and like from an ohm standpoint, resistance standpoint, There was nothing wrong with that wire. But for whatever reason, it would not carry voltage from the alternator to the rest of the car. Like, it just somewhere died in the line. Real weird shit. Like legitimately, nothing wrong with the wire. Like, visually, it wasn't frayed. Yeah, it had all the right resistance, or no resistance, but like, yeah, no open circuit, nothing. It was weird. So then I was like, well,
ghosts in the machine.
Yep. So I was like, well, I can go on a weird search for cables, or a 6 gauge or 6 gauge cable, and see if I can find it somewhere. Like, I'm not sure where I'm going to get that. And I'm thinking, I was like, well, I got ends in my toolbox and I have jumper cables. So I was like, I go into my truck and yep, I got some really nice jumper cables. And I'm looking, I was Googling, I was how much do these cost? Am I about to cannibalize $100 set of cables? No, they're not $100. Good. So then just snipped it off the right length, put the ends on it, fixed it. So yeah, definitely need to replace those.
A piece of chewing gum on there just to up the MacGyver vibe a little bit more.
Yep. So yeah, cannibalize a brand new set of jumper cables I've never actually used, and that wire is good. Went out.
I love an unused set of jumper cables. That's
yep. Well, I have one of those. I have one of those nice jumper packs,
yeah.
So anytime I've needed anything, I've just used that. But these it literally sits next to each other in the truck. So got it all back together just in time to miss practice 2. Went out, basically was buttoning it up as they were coming in from practice 2. So as soon as I dropped the jack on the ground, or dropped the car on the ground, it was they're all coming in. It's over. All right, well, whatever. Everything seemed to be fine. Car was charging, all good. Go out for qualifying, and I noticed that it's kind of smoking from the vents of the hood while I'm sitting in pits. And I'm okay, maybe I just got oil and shit all over the place, on my headers. Maybe that's what's smoking. Telling myself these lies so that I can feel better. Feel better about the situation. I was nah, clearly you were touching those headers with your dirty gloves and your dirty hands.
A therapist would call this rationalization.
Yep.
There's a lot of rationalization going on when you're at a racetrack.
Yep. So we go out for qualifying. I think I made it a lap and a half. Going, yes, I don't know if I even had. I had one flying lap because I put out a minute 45 as a warm up lap. So that was my qualifying time, was a minute 45, when I think pole was a minute 33. Second lap, actually flying lap, I was going into the braking zone of the back straight, and all of a sudden I have no power steering whatsoever. It's just manual steering. And it's because I fried the serpentine belt. Pull in, obviously. Then as I'm pulling in, they're we need you to go to impound. Come on. I'm the slowest car out there. Why? Seriously, it's
Top
my
3,
time.
Bottom 3, you know the rules.
I was it's my time, and then a huge gap to everyone else, and then it's the competitive car. I have not done more than 2 full laps here yet.
They're we just want to put you on the dyno to see what the hell's going on.
Luckily, they didn't make me go on the dyno. What did we do? We weighed me, and then I was able to get sent back to the to my spot, and I could yep, I shredded the belt. So I was okay, why? Why did I shred this? So looking at it, I was well, the alternator doesn't look like it's quite aligned. And I was running one of those still and lightweight pulleys on the alternator, because that's what I had on the previous one. I was well, maybe it's not sitting right. So then we take it all apart. And then so take the alternator out again. And I'm comparing that alternator to the other alternator. And so I had in the back of my truck, I had a starter and an alternator that were connected from one of my spare VQs, and I just kind of like set it in the back of the truck next to the spare transmission in case I needed it. And I've been doing that for like a year. So then I have a spare alternator that just kind of lives in the trailer. And then there's this another spare alternator that lives in my spares box. So I had 3 spare alternators at Autobahn without really knowing it. I installed 3 of them. We're doing like all these tests, like we're measuring to see like the pulley offsets, like why is this belt not tensioning all the way? Like is it misaligned? Like what's going on? Like Scott Robertson's over there. We got our calipers out doing like measurements. Like, well, this one's like 20 thou longer than the other one. I was like, but that wouldn't be enough to like throw it off. And so like we're arguing over like why this isn't working. And so like we take an alternator that's got like the brand new looking pulley. Like it's the newest looking one I got. And we put that in the car, and everything looks fine, but the belt just doesn't seem tight enough. And so like we're kind of like, okay, all right. Well, I got a spare belt tensioner. Let's just try that. So we take the tensioner out and put the other tensioner in, and the bolt that holds the pulley is a totally different design and looks weaker than shit compared to the one that I just took out. So I want to take like the strong parts off of this one and like swap them, even though technically they're supposed to be the same, but they're clearly not. And so I was like, I want to take the good, like the beefy ones off of this tensioner and put it on this tensioner, and we'll see if that works. And of course they don't fit. It doesn't work. So it's like we're looking at it, and like that's when I realized the pivot point of the long bolt that pushes the pulley up has a crack in it. And so that's why I've been pushing against that crack, and it just keeps getting further away, and the pulley never actually gets tight. And it only gets so tight, and the belt's not tight. So that whole thing just got chucked in the trash. I'm like, I have to run this one, even though the bolt doesn't, or the nut doesn't thread all the way on. It looks janky, but like this is exactly as it came off an engine. Like I have not done anything to this tensioner.
Yeah, someone else was able to drive with this for some amount of time. So
yeah, this is supposed to be a factory tensioner. Nothing weird about it. Put that on. It tightened up. Just that. I think my belt's probably, because I am running a weird setup, so I'm not running a factory setup. So my belt is maybe a 1/2 inch long. Like if I would just have, the 1/2 inch shorter circumference, it might be enough to like not be at the end of my tensioner. Because I was like, It sure feels like I'm at the end of the tensioner, and I think that's probably why the other one failed. So that'll be definitely for the next engine's problem.
And then you're also going out and exclusively driving it as hard as it possibly can get driven.
there is that. So luckily the replacement tensioner did in fact tighten the belt sufficiently without like any sort of effort at all. Like it's just like, yep, that looks perfect. Wasn't shredding belts anymore. Went out for race 1, pretty uneventful race 1. Just cautious. I mean, that's been my biggest, like my Achilles heel is just being cautious, like overly cautious. Because like just getting back out there this year was kind of a huge step forward for me in the first place, and then I still felt like I was just kind of like, I don't know, being real timid, for lack of a better term, just really not pushing it.
You're just guarding your iRacing safety rating.
Yeah, definitely that would be the focus, was like, just being safe. And so like I was definitely not putting myself in a position where it was like any risk, but also like I'm not driving fast enough like really. So that race, it was just kind of a, like figuring out what my representative lap time actually is, actually hitting my marks, trusting that the car is actually going to finish the race. Started in the back, moved up a few spots. There was an accident. Jake spun. Luckily, there wasn't any issues. Like no one hit him or anything, but it was just like a weird situation. Moved up some spots because of that. Moved up just out of merit. And just all in all, it was a fairly clean race. Race 2, I was back again. I didn't have anything to fix between race 1 and 2. Race 2, I go out and I'm battling with Matt because I think he started in front of me, and then I passed him. I think just on merit. Unless, I mean, maybe he missed a shift or something. Anyways, I passed him. And then halfway through the race, I'm going through turn 2, whatever, not important. Shifting into 5th, and it shifts from 4th to neutral. Then I go from 5th. I was like, well, maybe I got 6th. 5th to neutral. Fuck. I don't have 5th or 6th, which means I sheared the shift fork again.
So this is
where
the sound of the engine fades away, and that Simon and Garfunkel song from Old School when he's in the pool. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yep. So I've had this fail before. This transmission was new to me. It was supposed to be a very low mile transmission. It was supposed to be basically perfect. That was not the case when I put it in the car for the first time. It had a 5th gear synchro grind, especially at high RPM, which of course is where it lives. So I knew this was going to be an issue. It was just like, fuck it. This is my bed. I'm lying in it. This is what I have to deal with. So what happens is when your synchro in 5th goes out, what happens when you're shifting aggressively from 4th to 5th, you're tensioning, or you're putting stress on that shift fork, because it's not sliding in smoothly, and it'll eventually crack off one of the legs of the fork, and then when it only has one leg, it can't shift the 5th or 6th at all.
It just jams up against the face of the gear. And
yep. Yeah.
Doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So basically, you'll push the rod, and that rod will push the fork out of the slot, but it won't actually move the gear. So there's gonna be like a inch long piece of fork in the bottom of my transmission. The rest of the fork's attached to the rod, and that's it. That's literally that's all that's gonna be wrong with this transmission, besides the 5th gear synchro.
So now our Nissan VQ parts supply company is going to be hubs and a billet badass shift fork.
Yep. I think SpeedTech actually makes a billet shift fork. I don't know if they make it for the VQ or the CD, but I know they make a billet shift fork for at least one transmission, and it looks identical, so it might be a CD. So Jess was actually on the radio for me this race, because she wanted to be more involved. She wanted to kind of like get into it a little bit more. So she, basically I told her, I was like, this will be perfect practice, because I don't want a lot of conversation, but this will be good for you to, like, tell me when we go green. Tell me.
So the radio is kind of like normal life.
Yes, it's just like at home.
Don't talk. Just don't talk to me.
Just don't talk to me. I don't care how you feel. Just facts. So it was like, I basically was like, just tell me when we're going green, when there's a white flag. If you can see yellow flags on any of the stations, call that out ahead of time. I'll relay any information. So like when Jake spun and it looked like there was a couple cars into it, I said, there's a crash, I'm not involved, and then just went about my way. Because that way she's not sitting there wondering if I was in that accident. But then, like during that race, I was like, I've lost 5th. We're going to keep going. And then for whatever reason, I was able to keep Matt behind me that race.
We're gonna treat this thing like a VQ and just bang it off the limiter for half the lap.
Yep. So yeah, Matt was behind me, and for like the half that race, I was able to like basically switch to defense and just try to keep him behind me. And so like, you need 5th gear at that track with my car, like every straight. So I'm going down the front straight, the back straight. So going into 4, going through 6 and 7, all of those places I need to be in 5th gear. So I'd get like halfway down the front straight or the back straight, and it'd be like, and just like kind of like trying to let off the throttle a little bit, but I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, and just like sitting there bouncing off the rev limiter as long as I need to, and then whatever. It survived. Didn't like. It was. I don't know. Whatever. Came in, let the car.
You guys were on the north track?
South.
South. Okay. I was thinking about this before we started the show. I was like, I have no concept of like what that place is like to drive or what, like what kind of personality it has as a track, because it doesn't enter my mind. Like every year I see it on the calendar and I watch the live stream and I think it looks cool, but I have no idea what it's really like there. So
I really like the track. I think it races really well. It's not like crazy high risk. It's not overly technical. It's not overly simple. So I mean, I feel like it races really well. It's just I have a lot of fun on that track. So so came in, let the car cool off. Let myself cool off a little bit. And then my goal was to have the transmission swapped from the CD09 to the CD01 by the time the sun went down. And so, oddly enough, I had that CD01 in the car last year to get the car on the trailer and to Ohio. And so, this spring, I took that transmission out without spilling a drop of oil. So it's still full. And my goal was to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take out the CD09, not drop any oil, and then install this one without dropping any oil. And I don't have to fill up shit. It's ready to go. And I did that. So
nice.
Yep. So Jess was super helpful there. So handed me tools. We kind of did a crash course standing at the toolbox. This is this. This is this. And when I say I need this, this is what I need. So she was really helpful with getting me tools when I needed them that I didn't already have. I've done this enough times that I had most of the tools already just laid out next to the car, so I could just kind of slide in and out. Matt came and helped me quite a bit. The guys from Myriad offered to let me use their lift in their trailer, but of course I refused to be a hindrance to anybody else, so I just did it on jack stands next to my trailer. So
no, go away.
I'll do it my goddamn self.
You actually drove out to the back of the property where no one
no
else
one could
was.
see you. Yeah, like the dog that has to go, the dog that's dying that has to go hide under the tree. No, I just leave me alone. So Matt helped me quite a bit. Jeremy Salinas helped for a bit. I mean, again, this isn't a job that needs more than one person. I can do it all on my own. There's a couple of times where it helps to have another person there, but in all reality, it's just not a 2-person job. So that's basically,
whenever you were having to do it at Heartland,
I
remember walking over there and looking under the car, and there was 3 people under there. And I'm like, well, there's
nothing you can do to make this
all
easier.
I can do here is get in the way.
Yep. Well, and I've kind of got a rhythm for it now too, because I have the yoke out of a spare drive shaft. So I'll put that in the transmission so I can turn it. That helps line everything up with the clutch and the flywheel and stuff. So that makes that really easy. And it keeps the oil
from puking oil everywhere.
And so it never drips oil. And then so we get the old one out, take a quick break. One thing that I wasn't prepared for was that because I'd been laying on the back of my head, laying under the car doing the alternator stuff the day before. And so every time I'd move, I'd pivot with my head. So I'm doing that off of asphalt. So I have a big sore on the back of my head of where I've just kind of ground it into the asphalt for the last 8 hours. So by the time we're down there for the transmission, it's already super sore. So I was I remember leaving the shop going, there's no way I'm going to need this creeper. And I just put it back. Fucking idiot. So then I sent Jess or maybe it was Matt, on a wild goose chase. Please find me a creeper, a low pro creeper or something, just to get my head off the asphalt. Otherwise, I need a stocking cap or something. I just can't be pivoting my head off the asphalt anymore. Luckily, Seems Legit had these foam pads So I was able to like keep them under me. Because like the only other creeper we could find was like a normal tall one, or like, you know, like the not low pro ones, and that was just too tall to get in and out of the car.
No.
So
That's why I can't, with stands, I can't do anything under it except just laying on the ground, because it, like, even as high as my normal like little jack stands will get, it's just phobic. It's like it's like the bottom of the car is right here, like wow.
You're scraping your nose across it the whole way. Yep. No, the foam pads were like a lifesaver, just so I could have something on the back of my head, and I wasn't like immediately fatiguing myself.
That's what I always end up whenever I've done a bunch of stuff underneath it, laying on the ground too. I end up with all of my neck muscles down into my chest. Like if I have to do it 2 days in a row, the second day I'm like, no.
Yep, that would. I think
I'm not Fernando Alonso. I do not have that neck.
That was kind of like this. Yeah, I had that same sore muscleness, but yeah, the back of the head was so much worse that like that kind of overpowered everything. And then we were like, Matt was like helping me, and they're like, and we're all kind of having that conversation. It's like, let me get my jack, and then it'll be easy. We'll jack the transmission up, and like, you know, we'll all put it in together, and like it keeps like we're trying to do it, and the transmission keeps falling off the fucking jack, and finally I just kind of like slide in under the transmission, and I'm like, fuck it, and I just bench press it up in there like I would normally do it, and I'm like, this is so much easier, and I'm so much more stubborn than trying to fight with this thing. Like just let me bench press this thing in here and be done with it. And yeah, of course it was just fine. And then got it all back together right before the sun went down, took it out for a quick test drive. Everything seemed fine. Actually, the CDO1 felt like it shifted like way smoother for whatever reason. Went out race 3, had a pretty good race. Nothing remarkable about it. Transmission felt really good. No grinds whatsoever in any gears. No fighting it at all. Wasn't fighting to find like shift points or like like downshifting from fourth or fifth to fourth or anything like that. Where I was like it just felt natural. Everything was super smooth, which kind of restored my faith in like fixing these things, because that was a transmission I had rebuilt previously.
Nice.
And this is also the transmission that saved my Heartland weekend originally. That same transmission that we swapped in, this is the same transmission. This is the one I need when I need to save weekends.
That transmission has outlived a racetrack.
Yep. Sad day.
Yeah.
And then for race 4, I went out and there was a couple cars that got DQ'd, and they started in the back, and like we're going down the front straight, we're about to go green, and as soon as they throw the green flag, the car behind me goes all the way to the right, like so on the inside of the track. And I'm like, this fucker's going to dive bomb turn 1 to start this race. And so like I kind of move to the right, and I get behind the car in front of me. And my thought process was, I'll just get behind the car in front of me. He'll have nowhere to go. My thought process should have been, go all the way to the right of the track, prevent him from dive bombing. Hindsight being clear. So I left just enough room that if he stayed on the right and dropped some wheels in the dirt, he could dive bomb into turn 1, and that's exactly what he fucking did. And so he dive bombs turn 1. We have contact through turn 1, and I'm so mad at this point because I saw it coming, I didn't react correctly, and I left the door open, and because of that, we had contact. I don't know the extent of the damage. All I know is I'm fucking mad. And so then we go through turn 2 and into 3, and then like halfway through the field, they like misjudge the corner. So like those 2 cars go wide and 1 car goes in the dirt. And then every car behind them just kind of object fixates, and we all just kind of follow that path. And I'm on the far outside of that. And then to my right, or to my left is Rory. And then I know we're 3 wide, so there's a car to his left. So my options are go way into the grass or turn in on Rory, which of course I'm not going to do. So I take the grass line, as well as 4 or 5 other people do. So then I just like take speed from the equation, go all the way to the back of the field. So between the dive bomb start and the contact, getting, I wouldn't say pushed wide, but like being in that position to be in the grass wide on that turn, I'm like, I immediately get put into like flow state. Like I'm angry, but not in like an irrational way. It was like the only thing now, like having thought about it for like a week and a half, is that I don't know if you've ever been in like a fist fight or if you've sparred.
Yeah, you just fight or flight.
Yep. And so like to me, it's been like bigger picture beyond just that race. It was like sparring or fighting, and like you're kind of like into it. You're kind of you're doing your thing, but it's not real until you get punched across the fucking nose.
Yeah.
And so that contact, that turn, it was like finally gotten punched across the nose and be like, why are we fucking here? We're racing. And like that, it finally like woke me up. And so like I stopped being extra cautious. I wasn't driving reckless. I wasn't like driving angry even.
Yeah,
it was just like
sizing up and looking for opportunities. And
yep. And I honestly think that after those 2-3 corners, it was the best driving I've done in 3 years. I'm not saying there was the best lap times, but it was the most I felt comfortable in the car. It was the most I felt like I was actually like driving to the limit of the car, consistently driving at the limit through a corner, pushing it, and gaining positions the whole way through. And so it was just kind of like that light bulb moment where it was like, okay, this is why we're here.
we are still capable of this.
Yep. So, and then I was still kind of mad about the fact that I'm convinced I don't have a fender. I'm convinced my wheel's fucked up. Get pulled in. They sent me to impound, and I'm like, oh, God dang it. Now I got to deal with, dyno or weight or whatever. Like, no, we just want your video. It's like, oh, that makes sense. And then, we must have just touched wheels, luckily enough, because there was like some scrapes on the lip of my wheels, but other than that, no real damage. So it was like, it didn't take long for me to just be like, okay, we're fine, we're good. I'm not mad. But yeah, so like that was just kind of that like slap across the face, like, quit driving like a pussy, dude. Like just go. Like you can do this way better than what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that was honestly like a very wonderful way to end the season for me.
That's the fighter analogy. So I did for a few years at my very first job. We did like event promotions and a website for a guy that was doing MMA fight production.
Oh, sure.
And so I was ringside shooting for a lot of these, and to watch the differences in the way people would get in there to start a fight. And there was this one guy that I remember very vividly because he was very pale and he was very skinny. He was very Irish looking. And he got in there and he looked half asleep. And they kind of dance back and forth in the middle a little bit. And he makes kind of farted swing and then gets popped in the nose. And it was like somebody shot him with adrenaline, and he proceeds to lay waste to this guy. I don't even think it went around. It was the most mind-boggling thing I've ever seen in my life. Yep. It was like he just needed somebody to turn on the switch.
And that analogy is stuck out for me because that was exactly how Forrest Griffin fought, and he was very vocal about it. Like he had to get punched before he could even like take a fight seriously, which of course was probably part of his downfall and why he's not a pro very long. But that analogy stuck with me because it was like, sometimes you do just need to be like slapped back into focus. So, but no. So yeah, this year I'd say besides the extra transmission work that I'm going to end up having to do, I do think I can fix this one where I don't feel like I'm risking anything. So I priced it out. I can replace the synchro. I can replace the fork, I can replace the rod, and I can replace all the shift levers, like the ones that were bent on the previous one. I think I can do all of that for $150 in parts. And the fact that the other transmission felt so good, and that's basically what I did to that transmission, I feel pretty confident in doing the same thing to this one. I did have a pretty long conversation with Chris Smith from Seems Legit about transmission swap options, because they do a bunch of like DCT swap stuff, and like so he's got a machine shop that builds those adapters and kits and stuff. So he's like, if you wanted to go to like a VH 6-speed BMW transmission, we could get an adapter kit for you, or like we could make an adapter kit. So I've kind of explored that option. I don't think I want to go down the DCT route. I do want to stick with the 6-speed. And the problem is, like, everyone swaps their car to a CDO9. Like, if you do a swap kit, it's always XYZ engine to CDO9. And so trying to go away from a CDO9 to anything, it just doesn't exist. And so I'm still focus on the engine. I have one good transmission. Rebuild the CDO9 and just get that fixed, and then keep in my back pocket that I do have options, or bite the bullet and buy the Speed Tech dog box.
Dog box.
Because that's only that's not that much more expensive than a new transmission. So
my stupid decisions, we're very well aware of where I fall on doing the thing that's faster or doing the thing that's more fun. And dog box. Yeah. 100% dog box.
Oh yeah.
Do you have to take a modifier for that? Or?
Yeah, you're basically taking, I think it's 4% for a dog box. I think it's not full. It's not full sequential. It's but I think it's almost the same as a DCT.
Okay, well, it's the same as the DCT.
It's at least 2%, but I haven't looked at that part of the rule book a lot because it didn't affect me in any way. But now, if I did go that route, so I think, without looking, I want to say the DCT. I want to say the dog box is like 2%, and then the DCT is 4%, and then like a sequential is like 6% or something like that.
Yeah, it seems like, in which I don't know realistically what all. Let me put it this. I feel like watching anyone drive a dog box, it would come with a lot of added maintenance on everything else on the car because it's so angry. Like I really want to do a G-Force just NASCAR box in the Camaro.
Oh, I looked at that too.
I also want to be able to drive it on the street, and those two things don't really seem to go together that well.
Yep. So I'm still, I'm still exploring and seeing what, but like I'm still committed to the engine build, and just probably just fix the transmission I have because I think I can do it. Like unless I tear it apart and it looks god awful in there, which I don't think it will. Because I can't decide if finishing the race was good or bad because it felt fine. I just didn't have fifth and sixth. But it also meant if I chewed up that entire piece of aluminum that's now everywhere in that transmission, then maybe it's not fixable. I don't know. We'll crack that case open and figure it out. But
we'll think happy thoughts.
Yeah. Now last time it was like not much at all. It just kind of like broke off and then like went to the bottom of the transmission, and then I think it like found gears a couple of times, but like really wasn't that chewed up. So if it's similar to that, it should be a pretty straightforward fix. And then because of the issues I've had in the past, I know what other parts I need to replace if I'm in there. And if you order them from Amayama, they're only like pennies on the dollar. It just takes you a month to get them.
Yeah, that's what I was curious. I remember like early on us talking about it being impossible to find parts. So I was curious if that had got there or not. Because
there's like Z1 stuff like that usually has most of the stuff. Like if you get to kind of the obscure stuff that most people aren't replacing, like some of the rods, or like because like that one rod that I replaced, there was only one at Nissan in the entire country that I got. I can order that from Amayama, and they're like cheap, like $13. But then you got to wait a month before they get here from Japan or the Emirates or wherever they're at, because they have like 3 warehouses throughout the world. But it's a legit website, and they're Nissan parts, so it just takes forever to get them. But
yeah, I feel like I'm gonna get to put Synchros in mine. It's a little bit crunchy between 1 and 2, which isn't that big of a deal. first gear is basically worthless. But
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I guess 2 to 3 is feels a little bit weird. Just driving like normal driving.
Sure. Yeah. No, like after, because I replaced, I can't remember what synchro it was. But it was either third or fourth, and you have to like disassemble with a press and all that stuff to get to it. I don't think I'll ever do that again. But fifth and sixth is easy because it's that extra tail shaft piece, so you can just like take those pieces off. So like, yeah, if it's fifth and sixth, I'm not too worried about it. If it's the other ones, I probably won't do that again. Because I feel like I opened a can of worms.
That's my only experience trying to pull a transmission apart was a TR 6060 because it's a T56 Magnum basically.
Yep.
And we broke in 2 different ones. There was one that it like fused itself. It was just in third gear and it wouldn't come out. And I don't remember if it's that one or the first one that we did. We started trying to take it apart and figured out that we needed a lot of specialized tools that we did not have. And all we could find was a manual for the regular T56.
And that's not that, yeah, so that's not that complicated.
Well, and so like we started pulling things apart and nothing looks anything like this T56 exploded view that we have. Like, okay, I think we just need to put all of these things back in here and send it to a professional.
Yeah. Now the T56, I wouldn't be worried about. Anything beyond that, it gets a little complicated.
Yeah, the Magnum. The Magnum there's a lot happening in there, and a lot of different. Yeah, very interesting looking things that looked like they would be very easy to break and very like probably if you've got a whole toolbox full of tools for it, it's probably not that bad. But
right. No, because when I did the T56 when I had the 240, that wasn't bad at all. And you could buy like a box that had like all of the synchros and the whole kit for like $150 or something stupid. Yeah. It was like all of them were the same price as one of them for Nissan.
Yeah, I just found the listing of the different random synchronizers on Concept Z, and yeah, these are all fairly expensive.
Yeah, they're like $150 a piece.
Yep.
Not super fun, but yeah, we'll crack that case open and see what actual damage is, but fairly confident that one's not too terrible. And then the engine is with Matt somewhere in Arkansas, and that'll be in.
Yeah, you gave your engine parts to some vagrant that's just traveling the country in a van.
Yeah, they'll eventually make it to Texas. Well, it's funny because he's like all worried about where they're gonna go, and I was like, well, it's just a block, a crank, and 2 heads. I mean, they're wrapped in plastic. You can fit them anywhere, man. You're missing the lower oil pan, all the extra bits. Like, there's not a lot. It's not that big.
Yeah. Whenever you look at it with the valve covers and the lower whenever you get the front cover off of it, mainly it becomes very small.
Yeah. Yep. No, because we I gave it to him and it just kind of like, dude, this fit in half of like the passenger seat in the back of the truck. Like you can fit this wherever you want, man. Like there's you're not going to fight for a room here. So luckily, not a big deal. So that'll eventually make it down to you, and then we can talk about details. But I haven't bought the pistons yet, but I've settled on the size, so just gotta bite the bullet and do it. Because if we're in there, we might as well go all the way.
Yep. Yep. If anything happens, do a new block. So
it's fine. But yeah, I mean that's my whole season. All in all, a good season. That's the most wrenching I've done at the track in a very long time. But it's also the best mood I've been at leaving the track in 3-4 years, maybe.
Which you're also talking about. having a cool group of people and people
Yep.
helping out and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, I
that's
mean, like from top to bottom, like just everyone that I was around, all my it just felt like the group of people I was racing with, like pace wise, it was like some of my favorite people to be around. People I talk to every event, or even message like between events or talk like on a regular basis. That's who I was racing with. I mean, that made a huge difference. It was a really relaxed vibe all weekend. Dalton and Ryan were there. Dalton brought a scissor lift, so they were so they strapped that to the open trailer that he brought. So they were watching the races from the top of a scissor lift.
The Iowa Man VIP suite.
Yep. So it was good. It was good to see them again. I know Jess. I think Jess actually watched the race from up there. At least I think she did one race from up there, but it was.
But the radio works good from up there, right? Because you got line of sight to basically the whole track.
Basically, yeah. We had no issue with the radio. It was great. Like she was a rock star. It's like between, kind of taking the initiative to want to learn like what the tools were called and all that stuff, and like so she would actively get me tools when I needed it when I was under the car, or like taking the initiative to want to like understand the way I want to communicate on the radios. And like it just clicked immediately. Like she knew exactly what type of information I wanted and needed. She picked up on what things were and what they meant right away. And like she did a really good job of not like, I mean, it helped that I didn't have like a crazy accident or anything, but like she did a really good job of just being like
just even
keel, matter of fact, just like, cause like, I'm in the back. So like we're coming around that corner right as they throw green. So like she calls out green before I can even see it. So like that, just like super helpful stuff like that. Or like, hey, white flag, like I'm on the back straight. So it's like, oh, perfect. Like, so if I'm going to make a move, it has to be like right now. So it's just good information.
I better dive bomb this guy like holy hell next corner.
Matt's going to feel this freaking, like, we're just going to push it right through his door. I don't care. No, there was one move going into 4, I think, where I had a run on him, but like I could chance it. I'm pretty sure I could make it stick, but it's not worth it to not make it stick. So like,
if you're gonna, it's the cardinal rule of Formula One. If you crash someone, don't crash your teammate.
Or don't
crash your VQ teammate.
Or don't crash my mentee.
Oh yeah, there's also that.
Because he came in, like we were talking after, he's like, oh man, I was ready to like slap my door for you to come and take the move, but because like I had the run on him, I probably could have made it work, but it was just like I think that was like race 1, maybe race 2 before I actually made the move stick, and it wasn't worth it. So again, being a little more cautious, but I can live with that if I'm knowing that I left something on the table but didn't crash. I'll take that.
Yeah.
But yeah, super fun weekend.
My couple of advanced HPDE days this season, getting and having open passing, like getting closer around cars and taking passes going into brake zones and stuff like that, and getting comfortable with that again, and getting used to trying to still be relatively quick offline, a half car over, that kind of stuff is all like it kind of like whet my appetite for getting back into a little bit more serious stuff like that again. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, because there's the fast line and then there's racecraft. So it's just kind of like finally some of that stuff like that. It's like I know what to do, but like in the moment, my feet don't do it. So like I've gotten a little bit better of just like seeing opportunities, safely making passes, put myself in a position where we're both going to make it through this corner, and then still set myself up so that we can safely do it, and then I can take the the advantageous line or whatever. So, but yeah, it was great weekend to be around the people that I was with. So hopefully next year I can be a little bit further up the pack, and that this engine build will work out the way I think it will. Because we were talking, you, me, and Matt were talking after the event, and we were talking about like dyno graphs and like, because he had been talking in the GLTC chat about like the flatness level and like that's like it wasn't just us, but like the overall group was talking about like defining what flatness means. And like that's one of the biggest asks from the group is that there's a little bit better clarity on like what actually is flat for a horsepower curve. And so Matt posted his dyno in the chat, and he's like, "So is this flat?" And it's like it goes to like 228 horsepower, and then it's flat for like, I don't know, 3,500 RPMs or something. And then I sent a screenshot to our group, and I was like, "Your dyno makes me really hate my dyno graph." And that's like I sent my sad dyno graph that like is perfectly natural and peaks at like 232. So I'm super not optimized for GLTC because I'm in the wrong bracket. It's like if I would take 2 horsepower out, I would be able to take like multiple percentage out for weight. And so it's, again, this year wasn't important this year, but so hopefully the new engine build can kind of help me optimize that, so like I can tune and detune to utilize it a little bit better. Plus that extra, I don't know, was it like 30% RPM range? That'll help.
Yeah. Then you won't need 5th gear.
That's true. Because I did do the math, and I was like, man, I was fighting with ideas and like what I should do for like final drive and like what makes the most sense. And it's just like, oh, if I just add 2,000 RPM to all of these graphs, it doesn't really, like, I'm perfect with what I have.
Formula One in the early 2000s taught us that RPM fixes everything.
Yep. So we're just gonna do that. So we're just gonna jump from being the one of the lower shifting points cars in the field to the highest shifting point car in the field.
I can't wait.
I'm trying to think what engine will have a higher shift point than mine. Because I think
possibly the Ks.
Are the Ks less than 8?
I don't know. I know a stock S2000 is over 8, right? With the FA or whatever.
Yeah,
it is,
I guess those were really high.
F20, yeah. But nobody keeps that in there, so
no. Yeah. So the year of the VQ, I just want everyone to have VQs because it annoys people, and I like that.
Yeah. What if it was a VQ spec series?
Well, I've thrown that out there. I was like, if we can just boot the V8s to GT and then incentivize everyone to VQ swap their cars, we could have a Grid Life Trombone Cup, and we wouldn't have to change anything. GLTC.
Yeah, it's
just a big Ibach trombone.
Ibach would love being involved in that.
No, I'm excited. So the engines, I'll say it's with you, so I just need a few parts after that, and then I'll eventually come down and get it, and then hopefully by right around Christmas time, I'll have the engine back together.
Yep. I'm excited. We got the torque plate in. Yeah.
So when Matt drops it off, then you guys can plan for his 3.7 build, and then between what you learn from mine and his, then you can hot rod yours.
Yeah, I'll build my 530 horsepower to the wheels, 4.2 or whatever it is that Sasha's got. And
yeah, now we're talking.
I don't think mine will have a KERS system, but
that's details. Yeah, that's it for me, man. That's all I got.
Yep. I still like the stupid just turn the key and go reliability of mine, because we've got 2 other hot rods that kind of randomly like to let us know who's boss every once in a while. So,
yeah, I get that.
But yeah, so I had an interesting few days over the last part of last weekend into the weekend. I convinced the family we wanted to go on some kind of a trip in the fall, because my kiddo is 4, about to turn 5, so he'll be in actual school next fall. So wanted to take advantage of taking him out for a few days and going somewhere. So I said, let's go to Florida and hope that one of the like 572 rocket launches that SpaceX does from Florida per year happens in the time that we're there. And then we can go like do, like a beach day and some other things while we're there. But mostly I just wanted to see a damn rocket launch. So
I don't blame you one bit for that. So was this kind of on the whim, or was this like planned out a little bit? Because it seemed like it was on the whim.
It. Yeah, we planned it like a couple months ago.
Okay.
And we were like, because there's like spaceflightnow.com has all of the upcoming launches, and they really don't seem to get like hard and fast planned until like really the last week of the month.
Sure.
They start settling in on what's happening the next month. So we're in July, and there's like 2 that are saying they're going to happen in September. Like this may not work out.
Yeah. Plus, all it takes is like a 3 mile an hour degree or 3 mile an hour breeze, and they call the whole thing off. So
yeah, or rain in the fall in Florida, which happens basically every day.
Right.
So like 2 weeks out from it, we were there from like the 18th through the 22nd, back on the 23rd. Yeah, I think I have that right. So there was like one that settled in on the 18th, but it was an early morning launch, so it went like as we were driving to the airport.
Oh shoot!
Like, okay,
almost.
And then there was one for Sunday.
All right,
we're flying back Monday morning. I'm like, okay, so like Sunday, like and it's like a 5:30 to 8:30 a.m. window. Cool. I'll get up at crack of dawn on my vacation and go. So we Titusville, which is kind of straight west from the Space Center, and it's like from everything that I could gather, it's about the closest you can get without being like on one of the Space Center observation areas, it was like just under 13 miles away from the launch complex that this one went out of. So it went out of Launch Complex 40. So there's like 39B and 39A are the big main ones that like all of the shuttles and the Apollo missions went on. And then like further south from that is 40 and 41, which SpaceX is using for all of like the Falcon launches for the most part. So the mission was just Starlink satellites. They're doing these like they've done 2 more of them this week, I think, since we got back.
Wild.
Or one of them was actually, it was there was one Falcon that went that was a NASA mission that had 3 separate satellites that are like 3 separate programs for NASA.
Interesting.
So we got there on Thursday, and then we went to the Space Center on Friday, and I cannot recommend the Space Center in Florida enough. It's the coolest thing ever. We did a day there, and whenever we looked at the tickets, there was 2-day tickets, and I was like, I don't know that I could have done 2 days there. Like the wife and the kid probably would have been like pretty put out with me by the end of it, but we were there when the place opened at 9 and we left at 3:30.
Oh man.
Like there was a whole 1 or 2 buildings that we never got into.
Wow.
Yeah. So you do the bus tour. It takes you like out through the middle of the actual, like you have to go through a security checkpoint. You drive on a road right by the vehicle assembly building where they put together the Apollo rockets and the shuttles. And they're putting together right now the Artemis launch, which is planned for like February, where they're going to send people on a trajectory around the moon and back, which will be the first time that we've done that since, like 72, I think.
Yeah, it's been forever.
So it's like you go by the VAB out to a launch like gantry deal that you can overlook. 39A and 39B are like really close. They're like a couple miles away, and then you can see the other complexes, off in the distance. All that was just so cool. Like as a kid who grew up putting together the space shuttle Lego set, like all of that out there is just like it's all magical to me. It's all, these people are building stuff and sending it to outer freaking space. Like
that'll never not be cool to me. It'll like it's even to this day, like when I see planes taking off or landing, I just kind of stop because like even that is like just mind blowing to me. And it's just, I mean, it's just everyday normal shit to most people, but it's just like, no, that thing is flying right now. And that is the coolest thing.
It weighs like several 100,000 pounds.
Yes.
Like, how does that even work?
Yep. It's mind blowing stuff.
And so, like, on the bus tour, they take you out. There's the Apollo Saturn V like section of it, and you go in and you watch a video that's about the Apollo missions, and then it takes you into a recreation of the launch control for the Apollo missions, and it's the actual like consoles from launch control are sitting in front of you, and along the back row of them, they've got like jackets draped over the chairs, and it's from all of the different contractors that were involved in that program. It's North American Aviation, it's Boeing, it's Lockheed, it's IBM. It's like every company that was a thing in the U.S. was involved in that program because it was essentially a wartime effort to accomplish this thing. And then you go in and you walk through another door, and there's a Saturn V laying on its side, and it stretches out forever and a day because it's the most giant thing you can possibly imagine. And like we went whenever I was a kid, and we walked from one end to the other of this thing, and my dad points up at the last section of it at the front, which is like the command module and the service module. He's like, yeah, all of that back there was to put that on the moon. I'm like, whoa. Whoa. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then whenever you really think about it, it's all just one big giant, or it's technically three big giant fuel tanks is all it is. Because it takes that much fuel to make that much propulsion to put that out of Earth orbit. And just will never not be crazy to me. And then
the scale of it, I think, is like I can see one over and over and over again, and it'll never not just be just in awe of the size.
Just the bell on the F1 engines that are the main, the first stage engines on the Saturn. It's completely insane to me. And then, by the same token, like SpaceX is now doing it with, a much smaller engine that they've got 9 of on the Falcons and then 27 of them on the first stage of the Starship. And they're doing it over and over and over again. It's like the promise of the shuttle program was that it was going to make going to space a non-issue, that we're just going to be launching these babies and landing them and then putting them right back up. And the shuttle was so complicated that it just never happened that way.
Yep. But
in which, the Falcon's only going to low orbit. So it's not the same kind of thing, and it doesn't have the payload that the shuttle did, but they're doing it like every other freaking day on both coasts. And like, so whenever we were on the bus tour, we were coming back from the launch complex overlook to the Apollo Center. The bus like kind of grinds over on the grass to a halt, and he's like, well, got a little bit of a traffic jam up here. We'll have to wait for a second. And I look out the front windows, and it's an oversized load thing carrying a Falcon rocket. Oh my gosh. And it's all like, it's all blackened down the side from the soot from whenever it does the landing and stuff.
Oh man.
So that was like, that whole day was just got me like, it got my nerd pants flying all around the room. And then like I read Gene Kranz's book that's, Failure is Not an Option.
Yep.
That's about, he kind of came up through, like, I think he got in the program, like, toward the end of, like, the Mercury, I think, because it was like Mercury, Gemini, and then Apollo were the kind of the three that led up to the moon, and talked a lot about, you know, all of the different trials and tribulations of those different programs. And then I remember whenever I was a kid, they have a rocket garden that has all those first rockets from those programs. And as a kid, I was all about the space shuttle. The space shuttle was the coolest thing ever. The space shuttle was the modern way to go to space, and all these rockets were old, dumb crap. I didn't understand it. And then now going back and looking at it, having, you know, gotten more involved in all of that stuff, it's like, oh, that's the one that Alan Shepard, you know, wrote in. And like Alan Shepard watched them blow up like 27 rockets on the launch pad. And then they had 2 of them that didn't go, and he was like, yeah, sure, strap me to the top of it. That's fine.
Good enough.
Yeah. Like, they were all crazy, but Alan was by far the craziest. And, you know, like the fact that it's kind of come full circle and we've gone back to just like the standard rocket being the thing, and we're able to reuse it the way that they're doing now is just wild. So then, yeah, like fast, you know, we just had a beach day and just did, you know, Florida stuff for a few days. And then, for the launch, we're reading about, like, if you're there for a launch, like, you need to plan ahead. You need to like scout out where you're going. You need to be there. It was like reading about like your town's fireworks.
Oh, sure.
Display, you know, like, you need to be there like 2 hours early minimum, or if it's a higher profile launch, you need to be planning. You know, you need to basically sleep wherever you're going to go.
Yeah, your whole day needs to be there.
Yeah, traffic's going to be terrible. You need to plan. You know, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, this is the second launch this week of one of these. Like, I don't know that it's going to be that crazy.
And it's not like you're all within 200 feet of it. You're all like miles from this thing. Like, yeah, there's a decent amount. There's a decent circumference you guys can fit around.
Yeah. Well, there's, you know, like there's tons of, like, the hotel we stayed at, we have a launch view room on the 5th floor. And they have a like meeting room that's on that 5th floor that has doors that open up. That's like a specific place for people to watch from. And there's another hotel that's right across from it that has a rooftop bar on it that they do, like, they open up the bar, you know, at whatever time the launch is happening, so you can go up there and have a drink and watch the launch, which sounds pretty cool to me. But
sounds great.
So like, I'm thinking that there's no possible way that's going to apply to this specific launch at 5:30 in the morning on a random Sunday in September. But I'm also not going to take a chance on it.
No, I understand.
So I had an alarm set for like 4:20 in the morning because they settled, the window was 5:30 to 8:30. They settled that it was going to launch at like 6:50.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh man, that's going to be like, dawn. It's going to be lighting the sky up just a little bit behind it to the east. Like, this is going to be.
Yes. Is there a golden hour in the morning?
Yeah. It's, I think technically it's blue hour, maybe.
Okay.
I can't ever keep it straight. I know golden hour is for sure the evening.
Yep.
It's like, I took my camera and my 100 to 400 millimeter lens. I'm like, I'm going to get something of it. It's probably going to be trash, but I can't go and do this and not be a camera nerd at the same time I'm being a space nerd.
I was going to ask if you brought your camera, because like the picture you took is too good, and I couldn't decide if I was going to be impressed or offended that you did that with a phone, but I don't think you did.
Yeah. So I had my alarm set early, and then of course couldn't go back to sleep. So we just, like, a little after 5 a.m., I'm just like, let's just go over there and we can just chill in the car in the park, because we'd found a park that was like 5 minutes down from our hotel.
Oh, nice.
And I had been on the iPad in Google Maps, and I'm like, okay, there's a launch complex 40, and I'm just measure distance. Okay, here is 14 and a half miles. Here is 13.88. Here is this. Here's that. Yeah, this park that's right down from us is basically straight west from that launch pad, and it's right at 13 miles. I'm like, that's the closest linear distance that we can be to it.
Oh, perfect.
Without so you can get for, I think it's just for like NASA affiliated launches, you can get an extra pass on top of a Space Center admission, and you can get out to, there's observation areas at the like gantry at 39 and the Apollo Center. And so like that's my next step. Is like, okay, I want to figure out one of these to do again, and I either A, want to talk myself into a media accreditation for a certain podcast, because this is a big space podcast, right?
It is now.
Yeah, we're talking about it. So, or at least do one of those, because one of them's 3.7, like one of them's like right at 4 miles from 40. One of them is close enough to 39A and 39B that you can't be there for a launch at 39A or 39B because it's inside the safety radius. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
That's the one. That's the one I want. I want to feel the heat on my face.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we were the first car in the parking lot at this park, but like 30 minutes before, or like 45 minutes before launch, like some other cars started showing up, and there's probably in this park, there's probably like 40 people.
Okay.
By the time we get close to the launch, that are there specifically just to stand along this edge because it's looking out over, they call it a river. It's kind of just like an inland waterway kind of thing.
Like wetlands or Everglades type setup.
Yeah, it is actual just water. There's not like brush in it, but
oh, sure.
They call it Indian River, but it's basically just kind of like a lagoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just stretched real long, and it's like probably 3 miles across, because to go to the Space Center, you drive over a causeway over this, and then a causeway over another stretch of it like that.
Copy.
But so yeah, we just like, people start getting out of their cars and heading up there. So we go stake out our spot, and there's a guy next to us that has his tripod set up and everything. I'm like, okay, this is me and this old white-haired guy that lives like an hour north. We're both on the same wavelength here. So he said he comes down every chance that he's not working, he's down there for a launch.
Oh, cool.
And just plays with different, he was like, the shot I want, I can't get because they pushed it too late. Like, I need it to be super dark, because he's just doing a full exposure for, like he's getting these where he's wide enough where he's all the way up in the sky, and he's holding it down for, like 40 seconds or something like that. He had shots of it going straight up and then like off to each side, because they shoot them on different trajectories.
Sure.
Depending on where it's going. So yeah, like I got mine set up to where it was pointed where I wanted it. I didn't have a tripod, so I just set it on the ground on the edge of this like kind of seawall thing, and propped it up with a bag of peanut butter pretzels to get it framed like right where I needed it. And so we have the streams going, so we know what the countdown is, because we're so far away we can't.
Right.
We're gonna know that it's launching because we're gonna see a big orange ball over there, because the streams are like, I think the SpaceX stream was nearly a minute behind, and then there was another stream that was about 40 seconds behind. And the guy next to us says, so whenever you hear him say 40 seconds, like that's whenever I start watching, because that's, and like SpaceX publishes the time of what the prep is going up to it, and at like 38 minutes before, they have a go for all conditions and everything, and then 35 they start propellant load. And so, like, I'm zoomed in and I can see, like, I can see it venting. There's big clouds of steam coming off of it and stuff like that. And I ended up like, I'm stopped down as much as possible on everything on the camera, like f/45 aperture, ISO 100, like as little light can get in as possible, and I was able to do like an 8-second exposure on it and get the the main shot of it went off the launch pad, and then just, you know, sat there and watched it, and it, like, you see this big orange glow, and then you see it start to come up, and all you can really, with your eyes from that distance at that time of day, all you can really see is just the flame.
Right.
And it's just this, it kind of looks like a candle just going up into the sky. And it's like a long, I need to go back and watch, because Jen got video of it. I need to go back and watch it to see how long the delay was for the sound, but it was like at least 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
It felt like forever. I felt like you just see this orange thing go up, and I'm like, whoa. I knew there would be a delay, but I wasn't really grasping how far 13 miles is.
Right.
Like, the best, like, reference I had for it was whenever we would go to NHRA races. Whenever I was a kid, they had finish line seats at the Motorplex, and so you could watch, you know, the light turns green, the cars go, and then there's like a second delay or something like that, and then you hear it. Bah! So yeah, that times 13 miles. Yeah, I guess that does extrapolate out, but and then it was really crazy. It's just like you just hear this kind of low rumble, and it just built, because, you know, they throttle up. It takes them a second to get up, and then it just kind of builds up to a certain point, and then you hear some crackles, which I think is like this, because the engines generate like sonic booms on their own.
Yep.
And I just heard like probably 4 or 5 little crackles, and then it just trails back off. It was just so like, weird. It was just so unassuming. It was so bizarre.
Wild.
And you just think to yourself, like, yep, that's a rocket. That's a freaking space rocket.
Yep.
And then the big thing that I really, really want to see, and I don't know how you can do it, I want to see one land.
You're talking because, like the ones that get caught,
like the first, just the first stage coming back down.
Oh,
so
sure.
This one landed. Everything that I've seen, they're landing on the drone ships.
Yep.
And so it landed on a ship like 400 kilometers out to sea, and it was, you know, it was cloudy off the coast, so like there was no, like, right. It went up, and we followed it. We could see the separation. We could see the first stage come off, and then you could see little white glints coming off of it whenever it was doing the burns to orient itself and come back down.
Sure.
And then whenever, so I guess like the atmosphere has to be just right for it, but whenever it separates and on the second stage goes, it creates this big plume behind it that they call it on the stream. They call it the jellyfish.
Yep.
And it did that like right. Like we were looking straight at the back of it, because you can see this little white spot in the middle of it. Yep. And it's just this big circle of like cloud behind it.
So you had a pretty good picture of it.
Yeah, I think I don't know that the one that I sent you had been edited, so I had to pull a lot of contrast in it to get it to like really come out. But
I was gonna say the one you sent, it shows. I mean, it's clearly it looks like a jellyfish.
But yeah, it was just one, like, you just kind of sit there after you can't see anything anymore, and you still just kind of stare at the sky like, where's it at? Like, I know it's there somewhere.
Yep. You just kind of bask in it. Just like the awesomeness.
Well, and then I like start flipping back through the review on my camera, and I get to that launch shot, and I'm just like, okay, we can go home now.
Mission accomplished.
I got what I was here for. Yep, we're good.
Yep. Yeah, that's a freaking screensaver, man. That is such a good shot. It's so cool.
And it's one of the, like, it's kind of it was the same hit as what, like, catching the Group A cars in a time attack session is, because you know they've got maybe 2 flyers in them.
Yep.
You better be on your shit when they come around for your corner. It was like, all right, like I've done everything I can to make this as good as I can make it. My limited knowledge right now, and it like sort of worked out. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, man, that's such a cool picture. That is a picture you would see at the Space Center on the wall when they're like showing off of all the stuff that they got. Like that's
Yeah, I've followed a guy for a while that does media for SpaceX, and like he sets up remote cameras like next to the launch pad and stuff like that. Like he has
the wildest.
Like, super cool access and does amazing stuff.
Huh.
And then like the one I think the NASA mission that went up on Wednesday morning, yesterday morning. The stream we were watching, it launches and then it like switches to a camera shot that is just this white circle. And then it goes across it. It transited the sun whenever it launched.
Huh.
And they had a shot that is like, super stop down UV filter, and you can see this this crazy heat trace behind it as it goes across in front of the sun.
Wow.
And I had the second shot I got of it, it was already out of frame, but you can, if you zoom into it, you can see I don't know if I sent that one to you,
okay.
But you can see the heat all the way down to the ground still.
Oh, sure.
And it's out of frame. Like the atmosphere is all still distorted. Like,
wild.
It's so wild. So
yeah. Like the amount of thrust that comes out of those things, the heat that comes out of the things, and the amount of fuel they burn per second is just like made up numbers, man. It's just
nothing.
Whatever you think it is, add like 6 zeros to it. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, every unit of measure has like 5 to 12 extra zeros on it from whatever I can possibly comprehend. Well, it's like a commercial jet getting off the ground. Like, whenever we were flying back, we were sitting like 4 rows behind the wing, so I can look out our window and I can see the wingtip.
Yep.
And we're on the ground, we're stationary. The wingtip is like in the bottom third of the window. And then by the time the sucker leaves the ground, it's touching the top of the window. And that's...
Yep.
And then we hit some turbulence at one point, at 36,000 feet or whatever we're at, and 500 and something miles an hour. And the wing is going, whew, 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 whew. Like, God.
Yeah, I was told by, I don't know if they actually worked there, or a coworker that used to work at Boeing but didn't actually work in the test facility, but like in St. Louis, they'll do the wing tests there. And you would be shocked at what those wings can do without breaking. Like just this. But yeah,
I'm more interested in how many cycles it can do it for.
that also is a wild test. Yes.
Like my brain, so like my wife doesn't like flying. My wife doesn't like. She doesn't buy you're more likely to die on the way to the airport than in the airplane, because she's too type A. But I can rest on just probabilities.
Sure.
Like planes don't just fall out of the sky.
They don't just fall out of the sky, Dusty.
But also, when I'm sitting here watching this wing go like 8 feet up and down, like, makes me think about it a little bit, I guess. Turns out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's another dimension where I was like really good at math, and I was destined to go down there and like, determine what O-rings need to go in something or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, I to turn this into book club, the Gene Crank book is super cool.
That's on my I got like 4 books on my Christmas list this year, and that's one of them.
And there's also one about the Challenger that is super like it's super interesting. It gives you a background on the shuttle program itself, and what all led up to the Challenger and the Columbia crashes. That makes you like makes me look at all of that program a lot differently than I did as a kid.
Oh, sure.
And it makes me like really appreciate where it's come to now with the different commercial interests in it. Aside from the fact that it kind of weirds me out that they're just completely polluting space with random junk, and
yeah, there's
Elon and Jeff, and I just there's a lot of internal conflict in me, but also cool rockets. So
that's a very fair way of saying it.
but
yeah, so
yep.
Apparently Jess and I have started a tradition that every time we have a 3-day holiday, we just go to a museum. It's like a thing now. So like Memorial Day, we went to the Air Force Museum in Dayton. Labor Day, we went to the museum in Cincinnati, and maybe Florida needs to be on the short list.
Yeah, that's super cool. And then we also went to the place we stayed at right across the highway. There was an air museum that had a lot of cool planes that I hadn't seen before. So I just like they have an F-14 and F-14, F-16, F-18, an F-4 Phantom, which I had never seen in person. I'm way more into World War II stuff,
sure.
But like that Korea, Vietnam, and more into modern stuff. It's like it's interesting to me because it's a whole different world of technology and
oh yeah, for sure.
And they had a helicopter that was the same helicopter, or not helicopter. They had like a cargo plane that was the same plane that they used in the movie Con Air.
Nice.
With Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
And John Malkovich. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I would have really enjoyed that. So I guess I knew that needs to be on my list, and now you just kind of solidified that it needs to be kind of prioritized.
Yeah, it's super cool, and yeah, if you stay down there for 4 or 5 days, you're gonna catch a launch. You're gonna catch at least one launch. Yeah, there was 2 on Wednesday, so
wild.
I was like, man, if we'd planned this a little bit differently, we could have caught 3 while we were there, 4 days. But
it'd be hard not to prioritize seeing all of them if I was down there, and not like if I was like where you were, like let's stay in the same hotel all week. Like, do we really have to get up at 5 a.m. for the third? Yes, we do.
Yep. So yeah, we went. It's a courtyard hotel that has the bar on the roof, and we went over there the last night we were there, and it was like I feel weird about going to a bar. Like there's something always kind of like just a little bit strange about it if you're not staying there.
Sure.
But they took all the guesswork out of it because you walk into the main entrance and there's a big there's an elevator that goes straight to the rooftop bar, and it's got a big sign in front of it that says the space bar. And there's like a big picture astronaut, and then you get in the elevator and it does like a countdown to launch, and then you go up, and yeah, they've fully embraced it. Like the whole drink menu was all space themed. So
of course,
yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah, that'd been awesome.
But yeah, it's just a whole area that is just playing one toward all of the different contractors and all the different people that are that is a huge economic force in that whole area. And then to all the tourist idiots like me that are just obsessed with all of it. So that's a space thing. Let's go do it. All right.
Gotta go. Yeah, you gotta do it.
But yep, fun couple days.
Absolutely. And now I have to go.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't have anything fun planned for a while. It's work and watch the temperature drop. That's about it.
Yep.
But
play with race car.
Yep. We'll be talking as you get my engine, and then we'll go from there. And then we'll do updates on the show, of course. And
hopefully that homeless guy that you gave it to,
he's got to have a home somewhere in Texas, and he eventually will be back in Texas, I'm sure. Probably.
I think he's coming through here on Sunday, based on the last thing I heard from him. So.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, luckily I didn't have any sort of like timeline that I needed things back. So get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. Well, my dad will be sure that our part will be done in like
immediately.
No time, so.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But anyways,
cool.
Great show. Good catching up. Jealous of your Florida trip. And we'll catch every. Oh.
In summary, have a race car and also go to the Space Center. So.
I approve of this message. We'll catch everybody next week.